I was paid my largest weekly dividend ever from one of the RoundHill ETFs, and I'm super excited to talk about it. It's from an ETF that is way less popular than I think it should be. Now, we're going to cover all the details in this video for my RoundHill account. I put $100 into every weekly paying dividend ETF, and I've been tracking the progress in multiple video series. So I did YieldMax's video yesterday. Today is all about RoundHill. We have a bunch of content to get into, and I am excited. At the end of the video, I'll compare all the payments from RoundHill to YieldMax, and we'll see which one is paying more. So again, there's a lot in this video, but I do hope you guys enjoy. If you're interested in weekly dividend ETFs, in making money in the stock market, you are in the right place. Don't forget to join the community of over 18,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much by clicking the like and subscribe button so you never miss the free updates and find out what people are making the most money with. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's roll that intro. There's so much to talk about, but I do want to say I spent about $1,500 today on all the new weekly paying dividend ETFs. And I know that might not be a lot of money to some of you guys, but it's quite a bit to me as I'm planning a wedding. So I'm not complaining. I just want to say there's so many of these now. We have 40 weekly paying dividend ETFs. I cannot believe what is going on, but hey, retail wanted them, and retail, we are getting them. So I'm going to make a full video on all of the new ones, and I even have a lead on more that are coming out very soon, which I'm really excited. Remember, if you're interested in the weekly payers, you will get all the news here first. So I'm going to have to figure out how to make more content on these just because I'm only doing the RoundHill and YieldMax ones now, but there are so many good ones. The Granite shares, the Rec shares, we still have Defiance to catch up on. MST is very popular. So I'm trying to figure out how to fit all the content into an upload schedule and still include some of my favorite content on the YieldMax monthly payers, the NEOS ETFs, and a number of other ones. So I'm working all that out, but if you guys have any opinions, let me know in the comments what I should do and what content you want to see. Do you want to see more MSTY content? Do you want to see more weekly dividend content? Do you want longer videos, shorter videos? Let me know. It helps me out a ton. But all that to say, we have all of our payers in this account over $4,000, which is wild. Although we have one ETF that is standing out in this account, we had some phenomenal payments this week. We had YMAG, AUM's growing 15 million, dividend yield 4.77%. That's not accurate. Remember, that's trailing 12 months. I say this in every video. And so if it hasn't been paying for a full year, it's not the true distribution rate or dividend yield. But the payments have been very solid and very consistent until last week, where we had 27.5 cents, 27.5 cents, 27.5 cents, all the same, and then boom, 37.5 cents, a huge jump, and it really made a difference in our total weekly income. Now, if you guys don't know, YMAG is, I believe, the only weekly payer that pays on Monday, or it was as of last week. I know that because I have a free weekly cheat sheet, which I talked about a little bit in the intro. It showcases all of the weekly payers, how much they're paying, their trailing 12 months yield, and the day that they pay on, plus some more information for you guys. So if you want it, it'll be linked down below. Go to spencerinvest.com. You're going to see a pop-up that'll say, enter your email and your name. You do that, and then it's downloadable from there. So you're not going to get it in an email. I did that because I don't want to spam everybody. So you can just download it directly from the site. So I hope you guys do enjoy that. But YMAG, what a very, very solid week we had. And I'm really pumped. This thing has been climbing quite nicely. The market's been green as well. So that is definitely helping. But YMAG versus YMAG, there is a difference between these two. I will have to put out a video on it because they're not the same. YieldMax, YMAG, and RoundHill YMAG are not the same funds, but I do like them both currently, although YMAG is definitely catching my attention. We only have 2 weekly dividends that have been paying out for the full year. In weeklies, that is. We have a lot that converted from monthly to weekly. So QDTE, $775 million market cap. Wow, it bounced back up. People have been buying, especially these last couple of days, causing this thing to move. I'm very happy about that. We can also see our dividend yield of about 42%. So because it has paid for a full year, that is accurate, and it's really, really heating up, which I love to see. It ran from mid 34 up to $35.50, which I do like. Now we can see the last couple of distributions. We had 21 cents, we had 14.5 cents, not great. And then we went back to 20.5 cents, and then we paid 24.5 cents. Really happy. And remember, when I talk about it on this page, it's going to showcase it per share. So this is the dividend per share. When I throw it onto our tracking spreadsheet, which I will have available for purchase for those that are interested on my website, hopefully soon if I can get everything finalized. When we talk about it on the spreadsheet, it's per money invested. And these I have a little bit more invested, I think roughly $130 into QDTE and into XDTE, our next ETF. It is bouncing back as well. The AUM is also climbing 403 million and a dividend yield of 31%. Very solid, I will say. 25 cents, 19 cents, 22 cents, and 27 cents. So again, it was a really solid week. We haven't had a since what? May. We haven't had a dividend roughly this size. So I'm very happy with it. XDTE, the comparison between these two, they have slowed down though. I will say I sold all of my QDTE, XDTE, and RDTE. And you guys may have a better buy-in than me. Now, I still have them on this account. I sold them out of my Roth IRA, and I want to be transparent with you guys. I've been buying a lot more ulty and a few others, and there's some new ones that I'm really interested in as well. But I sold out of it simply because it wasn't performing as I had hoped, but I did buy them near all-time highs. So that was a bummer. If you guys bought in at these lower areas, they could be really, really solid. Only time will tell. Let's check out RDTE. Splitting up YieldMax and RoundHill has been a lot easier, especially because they have a lot of similar tickers now, RDTE for RoundHill and RDTY for YieldMax. And we have a lot of competing funds, very similar. I'm going to do full comparison videos, hopefully pretty soon. But AUM on RDTE, 138 million. Pretty solid. The dividend yield is about 45% last time I ran the calculation. That is total, not trailing 12 months, because it hasn't been paying for a full year. Last couple distributions, we had 30 cents. We had really low, 13.5 cents, a little scary. Then we had 24.5 cents, and then we had 27.5 cents. So it is bouncing back. And I will say, a very smart commenter pointed out that the low distributions were likely due to closing market days, meaning these zero DTE strategies had a 1 day less of trading. And we should see that again as we're nearing the 4th of July, or depending on when you're watching this, already past the 4th of July, which if you are, hope you had a good 4th. Now onto our next ETF. I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. WEEK gets a terrible rap. $107 million AUM. Dividend yield is 4% annually. Now, why I think it gets a bad rap? It's consistently putting out about 8 cents, just under 8 cents, just under. And it does that because it's a T-bill ETF. It's not similar to the options ones that we've seen or the leverage ones. And why I like this one and why I think it's underrated is just because it's a sweet spot to put some uninvested cash. For me right now, I have about $5,000 in my Roth that I don't have invested. I throw it into WEEK because it's just getting me a low yield, yes, but some weekly money instead of getting nothing for it just being uninvested. So I'm happy with WEEK, and I hope it can continue this 4% yield across the board no matter what interest rates do, because there always is some fluctuations, and we've seen high yield savings accounts drop from 5-6% down to 3.5%, which is quite a bummer. So WEEK, not the highest returner, but very solid and steady. YBTC is, I think, underrated as well. I think a lot of these are underrated because YieldMax is probably more popular than RoundHill, I will say, with MSTY and PLTY, but RoundHill has some phenomenal funds as well. Now, YBTC, I think, is one of them. We've seen it bounce all around. The implied volatility with Bitcoin has been pretty high, and the payments have been consistently above what a lot of the other payers are. Now, I did talk more about YBTC and a few other YieldMax funds in my podcast with Marcos Mia, another ETF creator. So if you're interested, check out the ETF Guys YouTube channel. It's a podcast, and we ramble on about this stuff. We love it. It's so much fun comparing funds, talking about what we love from RoundHill, from YieldMax, what's going wrong with these ETFs, what's going right, the new ones, news, all sorts of stuff. So check it out, the ETF Guys podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, for anyone that is interested. So why I like YBTC, and I touched on this in the last episode, is the payment. So we had 42.5 cents, then we had 20 cents, and then we had 20 cents, and then we had 27 cents. But prior, we had some crazy payments up in the 40s a couple different times. Now, it does bounce all over from 20 to 40 and back, but it is consistently higher than a lot of the other payers. And although people don't seem to love some of the Bitcoin strategies, I think that the high payments might be worth the added risk if you think Bitcoin isn't going to do as well in the next couple of months. Now, only time will tell, who knows, but it's time to jump into our brand new weekly paying dividend ETF by RoundHill. The chart is not looking great, guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We fell from $60 to $21.50. We're back up to 25, and I think that we're going to see a lot more buying now that YETH is weekly. But wow, We have not received a dividend, but I did buy it recently, so I'm not surprised by that. And I'm not sure when it's fully going weekly. It's supposed to be pretty soon, so only time will tell. I do think this one has some potential. Low AUM, 30.5 million. The dividend yield is 80%, but 80% is not going to cover this drop from $60 to $20. So only time will tell. Again, no distributions yet, but I am excited for this one, as I am excited for all the new weekly payers. We are going to start with our worst performer, AAPW, but I wanted to point out the 5 new weekly pay ETFs. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. They have not paid me yet, and that's why, but I have a full video that I'll link at the end for those that are interested. It's really exciting stuff. We now have an AMZW, which is on Amazon, BRKW, which is on Berkshire Hathaway, which is really interesting to me, and I'm a big fan. So that one I will be watching closely. We have HOOW, the Robinhood weekly pay ETF. Robinhood's been going absolutely berserk. Then we have METW, the Meta weekly payer, and NFLW, the Netflix weekly payer. Really exciting. We now have 10 weekly pays from RoundHill and 1 from Defiance that are based on leverage, which I'm sure we're going to have more to come as well, including some that I know about that I can't talk about yet, but only time will tell. So let's jump into AAPW. We can see not the best. It's been beaten down. Apple has not done well since the launch of this fund. The AUM is under 7 million and the dividend yield 10%, probably in the 30s to 40s at least. But we need Apple to bounce back. One thing I will say with the leverage is I like leverage and I like to play it safer with leverage because leverage itself is risky. But I do keep getting comments, oh, I'm not touching the leverage funds because it's too risky. And I do agree, leverage can be extremely risky. These are only a 1.2x. So you're not doubling, right? So for these to completely go to zero and you to lose all your money, the underlying stock would have to drop over 83%. So if you think that Apple or Tesla or Meta or Berkshire Hathaway are going to dive over 80%, I wouldn't be in the stock market personally if I thought they were going to go down by 80%, but that's what I mean. And leverage isn't for everybody. I'm not telling you to use the leverage ones, but I do think they're underrated. And so we're going to touch on a few of these that have been paying really, really well at the end of the video with that dividend tracking spreadsheet. But AAPW, it's just not doing great. 10 cents, 26.5 cents, 23.5 cents, and 14.5 cents. So again, not great, not a high payer, not great returns, and it's been one of the worst performers so far. A bit of a bummer, but maybe Apple is due for a bounce. Only time will tell. COIW, the Coinbase fund, has rocketed back $31 million AUM and dividend yield of 12.5%, much higher, of course. Last couple distributions, we had 50 cents. That was a crazy week. 32, 45.5, and 34. So not great this last week. A little bit lower than we've been seeing, but maybe we'll see a jump next week with more implied volatility. I am very hopeful for these. We did miss out on a day of trading, which I think impacts the leveraged ones different than the 0DTE options weekly pairs, but who knows? If you know that, let me know in the comments. I assume that it would. We just had one less day of trading. I like Coin. I think in the long run, it will do well. It's probably the best crypto brokerage out there for new investors to crypto, and crypto is complicated. Believe me, I am not a crypto nerd. I'm a finance nerd, but crypto is still even difficult for me after trading it for a number of years. So COIW could be a good one. We are seeing it bounce back really nicely, which if you had bought this at $20 up to $60, that would have been nuts. But I do like that the leverage funds are moving quite a bit. The NVIDIA weekly pay ETF, AUM 18 million. I'm surprised. I thought this one would be bigger. Dividend yield 12.5%, similar to COIW. Hasn't bounced back as much. We had 30.5 cents. We had 40 cents. Pretty impressive. 45 cents and 36 cents. Not bad. Similar to COIW. I like NVIDIA in the long run. It is one of my favorite long-term holds, and I don't hold a lot of single stocks just because I'm an ETF investor primarily. But I do like this one, and it might even be one I purchase in my Roth IRA if it can keep this trend. PLTW is up 30%, not including distributions. This thing has gone nuts. 60 million AUM. I believe it is the biggest weekly pay ETF, not weekly paying. There's the weekly paying ETFs and the weekly pay that are the leveraged ones by RoundHill. Pretty massive indeed. Dividend yield of almost 19%. Let's take a look at this last distribution. We've had quite a good show by PLTW. 45 cents, 67 cents, almost 68. 40, 47, not bad. And boom, 70 again. Absolutely phenomenal. I think this is the highest dividend we've ever received, but we'll find out very, very soon. But can you imagine getting a what? It is more expensive. It's $42, but you're getting 69 cents per share. Absolutely phenomenal. And I like PLTR. It's way overbought right now, but I said that about Tesla and it kept moving. I said it about Nvidia and it kept moving. So I don't know what's going to happen. Not financial advice, but let me know in the comments if you guys do, because I'd love to be in on some of these runs before they're happening, not at the end of them. The Tesla weekly pay ETF, AUM of 18, almost 19 million, dividend yield of 20.4%. Last couple distributions, we had 44.5 cents, we had 53 cents, we had 16, almost 17 cents. Wow, what a drop. And now 56 cents. So we bounced back nicely, but that was a tough week. I like Tesla. I'm a huge Tesla fan. And I think with Elon back at the helm, focusing on the company, it will do well. But I also like to swing Tesla. So the weekly income isn't as important to me. I don't know if I'll buy this one. I'll let you guys know if I do, because I do like to tell everyone my trades. And I'm really, really pumped for what is to come on the channel. We have to talk about our total return, though. So let's pull up that weekly tracking spreadsheet. One of the things I'm really pumped about with this spreadsheet is I'm able to track crazy histories of these funds. So, right, we can go all the way back up to when it first started paying, January. And that's when I transferred all this stuff over. It actually goes way farther for a few of these, but it is really cool seeing all the distributions that I've been paid over time. So we can see QDTE paid 74 cents, pretty high, higher than what we've been seeing for the last month, which I'm pumped about. XDTE, 81 cents, same story, really, really good. RDTE, 82 cents, very solid as well. These ones have all performed well. Love to see it. YBTC, 55 cents, bounced back up 15 cents from last week's payment, which is what we needed if we're going to compete with the YieldMax ETFs. Ticker WEEK, 8 cents, did what it's supposed to do, right? Can't complain. And then we have MAG, 75 cents, 20 cents higher than last week's with that monster distribution it paid out. And our second half, we have AAPW, 29 cents, not the lowest, but down there. Not happy with AAPW. Hopefully Apple can figure something out. They seem to be in a bit of a tough spot. COIW, 69 cents, lower than we've seen, but not awful. NVDW, again, a little lower than we're used to, but not bad. PLTW, $2.08, beating the previous record of $2.03. Before that, it was held by ULTY, $2.01. So it's insane that my brain remembers this stuff, but I'm so into these ETFs. It's crazy. I love tracking them. It's been so much fun. And PLTW is just putting out more and more and more in the distributions, and it's underrated. And I know you guys, I know that it's leveraged. And again, I'm not telling you to buy it. I don't own it right now, not outside of my YouTube account. But I'm thinking about it seriously. It's just hard because PLTR is so expensive right now. But look at that. Crazy. I guess part of PLTR being so high in price means that implied volatility is nuts. TSLW, $1.12. Very solid. I think the highest that we've received from TSLW. Yes. So boom. Tesla's up there too. We're making some crazy money. And last but not least, YETH. Haven't been paid yet. So let's slide all the way to the side and we can see what we've made. All right. So here's the tough news. We did not beat YieldMax, and we even hold more RoundHill weekly paying ETFs, so that's a double bummer, but we have ones like WEEK that really skew the data. All in all, PLTW is the best payer that we have. We did get $8.66, tying our all-time high. Wow, we've had that 3 times exactly. That is very interesting. Wouldn't have expected that, but we couldn't make a new all-time high in the account just with our new all-time high dividend. So still very happy. Let's check out our profit and loss and see what's made the most money and what's lost the most money in this account. Now we have what is probably the most important part of the video, our breakdown. So we have our number of shares and our average cost per share for all of our ETFs. I'm going to take this and slide it to the right. And we're going to see a lot of red and a lot of green, but no, it's not Christmas. We have our unrealized profit and loss, not including the dividend, which is our market return and total return. And then the green is showcasing with the dividends or distributions. So we actually are negative 16% with QDTE just on our invested money, but with the dividends, we're positive by just under 6%. XDTE is trying to catch up, 2% in the green, and RDTE down only 1.4%. This thing was down big at one point, but it still has some ground to make up. Then we have YBTC up 16.04%. This thing was a monthly payer until January of 2025, and since going weekly has gotten a lot of hype, and rightfully so. It's up 16% in 6 months, a phenomenal return. WEEK is up 1.09%. MAGY is up 4% in a very short amount of time. AAPW, getting into the leverage ones here, AAPW is down 21.28%. Not great. Then we have COIW that is now the best performer. Wow. COIW up 53.14% in under 6 months. I think these have only been trading for a few months now. We have NVDW up 33, almost 34%. And we have PLTW. It's actually fallen the last couple of weeks from 60% in the green down to 51%. Hopefully we can fix that. I think the price has been bouncing around, and I know PLTR rocketed up another 8% or so today. So maybe we'll see it bounce back. Who knows? We have TSLW now only positive by 3.62%, kind of surprising to me. And YETH is up 0.77% despite not even paying a dividend. So now moving over all the way to the side where we can see our market value, our cost basis. So like I said, we put more money into XDTE, RDTE, and QDTE than we did to any of the others. I did have drip on and I was buying more shares at the beginning of the challenge. But our total dividends received, this is a massive factor. We have $28 from QDTE, $23.50 from XDTE, and $28.50 from RDTE. The rest started trading later, but I will say ybtc has been paying out crazy amounts since it's only been paying weekly since January, and I only have held it for 6 months. So it actually is paying more than a bit of the others. Then I will also point out PLTW is now paying $19.50, or it shouldn't say is now. It has paid that over since I've held the fund for a couple months, making this the highest payer for sure. And we have TSLW and COIW very close behind it. So that's our full breakdown on the RoundHill weekly paying dividend ETFs and our biggest dividend ever received on the channel from a weekly payer. So I'm really happy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video breakdown. Give me some advice. How should I structure these? How should I talk about the new payers and continue up with my normal MSTY content, PLTY content? I want to know what you guys want to see. Again, if you enjoyed this video, chances are you're going to like these that are popping up on your screen. So check them out, including yesterday's YieldMax weekly paying dividend ETF video, which I'm sure is going to surprise you. Thank you guys so much for the support. 18,000 blows my mind on the road to 20K, all because of you guys. You're amazing. I love you. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in the next video.